All right. Well, good morning there, Frank. We're here at Tacobout Live.
Good morning, brother. How's it going?
I'm doing all right, brother.
Hey, everybody.
Doing real good. I got my taco here, but I see yours is already missing.
Oh man, I scarfed it down. Yeah, and true to form, it was good. It solved all the problems of my world today, bro.
Yeah, it is. And mine right now, slowly but surely getting into that mode and the Taco Tuesday, mode. And so I got my taco, my cup of coffee, and so I'm good to go. And man, and sometimes it's I get angry with myself because it's like, man, I look forward to a good taco and a good cup of coffee, and my mood changes, bro, as soon as that that takes place,
Yeah.
And so,
Oh yeah. Well, last time mine got cold, that wasn't gonna happen today. But then I opened up my order, and it was messed up, and I was like, well, let's see what it tastes like. Yeah, so everything's all right now.
Yeah,
Tasted good.
yeah. Praise the Lord, man. Praise the Lord. Well, we got a lot to talk about this Taco Tuesday morning. Stuff is still happening on the border, of course. I'm talking to agents, Frank. We're still getting anywhere from 50 to over 100 per day still. I saw that also on the news that we have a whole bunch of National Guard down blocking crossings. I don't know if that's the correct term, to tell you the truth, because I don't know if it's preventing anything.
Yeah, and honestly, I drove up our local area, and you see one or two isolated, Humvees with a couple of troops at each one. What a lot of people are seeing was that photo op setup down at Eagle Pass, down at the golf at the
golf course,
international
yeah.
bridge. There's a golf course under there, so they look all pretty lined up in a row, folks. But let's not forget that this border in Texas alone is over 1,200 miles, and the entire southern border from California down to Boca Chica, it's pretty much double that.
Yeah.
And and it's not oh, here goes Frank bashing again. No, the reality of it is we cannot continue to throw just those bones out there to appease people. This is serious. And so serious times require serious measures, and we've been talking about it, bro. Twist Mexico's arm. We saw that feeble showing down in southern Mexico, where you had a couple of lines of Mexican troops with their riot gear, and they pushed right through them.
Right.
They've got military equipment, they got heavy armament, and I'm not talking about shooting folks here, but it was feeble, and it was basically just a show, just to say, hey, well, we tried.
Right.
And Mexico knows they're going to push through and try to get into the United States. So they did their part.
Yeah.
And so what we've been saying is it's going to take some serious economic pressure. Money talks, BS walks. And so Abbott needs to step up and do what he can as per the Constitution. Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3 gives him the authority he needs, as does the Texas Constitution, to take the measures necessary to secure our border today.
And it's amazing to me, Frank, because Abbott's sitting there in office right now as the Texas governor, and we have three candidates who are running for governor, and who are willing to enforce that clause in the Constitution, the Texas State Constitution as well, to protect Texas sovereignty. Why doesn't Abbott do that now?
Well, it's money, bro. It's money. It's lack of will. And honestly, it's a lack of courage, man.
Yeah.
Because we are in existential times. I've said that over and over again, folks. But that means that our very existence hangs on the wire here. And so, look, I know that conquest is a part of human history, and at times, nations have risen and conquered other nations. Well, let it be said that this moment in time, that Texans and Americans rose up, bro, because this is our home, man. This is our way of life. These are our freedoms. The Constitution is getting steamrolled. The left, that's controlling Biden, Soros, and China, and this globalist interest, bro. They are wiping themselves with the Constitution. They're using it as toilet paper, man.
I agree. And I'm trying to pull up this article, that I saw yesterday. The leader of that. Of the caravan,
Pueblos sin fronteras, towns or communities without borders.
Right, and the leader of that caravan that's coming, that's already gone through Chiapas. I think they've already made it through Chiapas.
That's what I saw last night.
But he's basically said that the reason that they're coming through is because of Biden's ineptitude. And he said, at least, and this is a quote from him. He goes, I tell you, he goes, at least with Donald Trump, we knew what we had. With Biden, we don't know. He doesn't seem to have a clue what to do with immigration. This is incredible, bro. This guy is talking about the so-called American president, who has no clue what to do with immigration because he keeps going back and forth, and he's not enforcing any laws.
Well, and so that kind of sheds a light, bro, on a very broad principle, man, in a very macro level, a truth,
Right.
That God has ordained boundaries. Acts chapter 17 talks from one man he created the nations of the earth, set our times in our places, our boundaries. But it's that aspect of there has to be parameters, there have to be rules, because that's the way God made us, bro.
Yeah.
And so it's sin to disobey God. And so when you go against principles, against rules, against laws in this case, there's also a sense within even the lawbreakers. They have no restraint. So it speaks to a deeper issue of the human spirit. It says that the heart is desperately sinful.
Yep.
But there is that aspect of every human heart searches for God, searches for order, searches for their creator.
Right.
And
exactly
so
right.
even this guy here is, roundabout sort of way saying, hey, well, at least with Trump, we had limits, we had parameters. Don't touch. You're going to get your hand spanked, smacked, whatever. But, with Biden, it's like, dude, well, we might as well go. We might as well take advantage of it.
We might as well
because
just
the guy's
flood the border.
clueless. And that's true. Biden has betrayed us.
Yeah, he sure has.
And we know he's a puppet.
And talking about in the book of Acts and in regards to what the scriptures tell us about borders, there's this, what God is addressing too, Frank, is this human inclination that we all have, that we're all born with. The Bible tells us we're all born into sin, meaning we're all separated from God. But the reality is we do have this human inclination to surround ourselves with boundaries.
Yes.
It just, we need the guidance to do so. That's the importance of salvation. That's the importance of the Messiah as well, the Holy Spirit, to guide us in godly and righteous ways. But there is this human inclination. I mean, you put people down in some pieces of land, and next thing you know, what's going to happen? Fences are going to get built because everybody, you want to protect what is rightfully yours. And then beyond that, by extension, Frank, there's also been treaties that have been established here in the United States long ago that people seem to have forgotten, that there are treaties that Mexico eventually agreed with, right? And recognizes, because we get these emails once in a while, we get these texts once in a while that, hey, you guys, are traitors and
you stole it from us.
You guys, this land belongs to Mexico and this and that. And it's like, well, the Mexican government doesn't recognize that, so why should we? So
and you're a disgrace to your people, really? To who? To the Mexicans? We're not Mexican. We're Texans, man.
Yeah, and Americans, and so but so it's amazing to me. And then I was reading another report as well that to tell the people that Biden doesn't recognize this at all as a crisis, that he denied emergency funds to Texas to get reimbursed for all this stuff that's happening as well.
That's a huge component, bro, and we're seeing that also at the local level, man.
Right.
Well, the state level. Abbott, I know that the county next door has been asking for help for a while now.
Yeah.
And Abbott's been denying them. There's some hints now that something may come in, but the thing about it is that the time is now. Abbott needs to step up. It's long foregone conclusion. We're beating the ghost of a dead horse here. To expect, want, desire, pray for anything from Biden, and of course pray change. But anyways, I'm using some freaking exaggeration here. Anyways, it's an Abbott's court, bro.
Yeah.
This is our state, and if Abbott doesn't step up, with the broader scope of the authority that the Constitution gives him, man. There doesn't have to be a precedence in the sense, although there is. But what I'm trying to say is, look, what does he need?
Right.
What incentive does Abbott need? Where do people have to push his buttons to get him to reach out to Mexico and just tell him, look, man. This is what I can do to affect trade with you. This is what I can do to affect the inflow of money into Mexico's economy, and I'm willing to, on behalf of the Americans, the Texans that have voted for me, and I'm willing to, on behalf of the America whose doorway we are, Texas is, to put pressure on you, Mexico, to take your part, to do more than send a feeble 50, military guys down there for a crowd of thousands, man. And that does, of course, nothing for Mexico as far as, just amplifying their feebleness, the corrupt nature of their government. It just really amplified all that, that portion of it. But real quick, man, since we're talking about border, man, and I know you got some stuff, I just wanted to throw this out there real quick. So Customs and Border Protection is under the Department of Homeland Security. And so underneath the CBP, we have Border Patrol, Office of Field Operations. We still live, bro?
Yeah.
Okay. We have Border Patrol Office of Field Operations. We have, Marine Operations, etc. So there's a new commissioner, being screened right now by the Senate Finance Committee, was the latest one. But they were voting to whether to send his nomination to the full Senate for confirmation. And this guy is Christopher Magnus. Christopher Magnus is currently the chief of police in Tucson, Arizona. So think about it. So we have Biden, the betrayer, and we have Alejandro Mayorkas, the Secretary of Homeland Security, who's selling us out left and right. And underneath him, under Mayorkas, would be Customs and Border Protection. Underneath would be Border Patrol. And Raul Ortiz, we'll be talking about that here as well. But so this guy would be the boss to those frontline agencies that are charged with defending our border security, our national security. So he's worked in public safety for 42 years. And so, they were screening him. So the thing about it, bro, this guy is for sanctuary cities.
What?
He's for sanctuary cities.
And they're screening him for
Customs and Border Protection. See, it's a total sellout.
Wow.
He's on record, bro. He is on record. There's research out there that talks about his stance on sanctuary cities.
And for people who don't know what sanctuary cities are, can you explain that a little bit?
Go ahead, bro.
Oh, well, I mean, sanctuary cities are basically places where illegal aliens that cross into our nation illegally can come and basically settle without fear of prosecution or deportation.
Local law enforcement is not going to work with DHS. In optimal times. In optimal times, we got the ICE enforcement, going on, deportations going on. We have Border Patrol enforcing at the border. That's the optimal.
Right.
But right now, of course, anyway, so sanctuary cities, you come in, law enforcement's not going to go after you. Barrett County, San Antonio has been going that way.
Wow.
So this guy here is for sanctuary cities. He's fixing to be nominated probably to be in charge of the border enforcement entities, agencies. And he also was highly critical of Trump's border wall and Trump's policies.
That's like asking a wolf to be the shepherd of a flock.
Yeah. That's like asking a politician who freaking handle your money. Bro. Yeah. So I mean, we got to laugh, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, man, so that's not just the irony of this. It's beyond irony here, folks. This is calculated. This is planned. This is devious. So the left is working as Soros did. Remember when Soros poured a lot of money into the prosecuting attorneys, races throughout the country. So anyways, this is part of the plan that the left is working on. Mayorkas, open borders, liar, a traitor, and now right underneath him, CBP Commissioner Christopher Magnus out of Tucson Police Department, open borders, anti-Trump immigration policies, anti-Trump wall, is now fixing to perhaps get nominated as the Commissioner of Customs and Border Protection. It's another freaking sad day for America, and all this under the specter, under the shadow of what is fixing to happen. If by November 8th, DHS, government employees, federal employees at every level, whether they're uniformed or civilian, if they don't get the final vaccine by November 8th, 2 weeks later, November 22nd, they will start with the disciplinary process, which could lead up to eventually termination. I posted the other day, up to 5,000 agents, Border Patrol agents alone. That's not counting every other federal agency, national security agencies that are under this executive order.
I was talking to some agents yesterday, Frank,
Yeah.
and they're actually saying that 5,000 is a conservative number because they're believing that there's more than 5,000 agents who don't want to be, who take the vaccine.
Yeah, and that also doesn't take into account probably, bro. Well, that just says termination. So so termination is fired, of course. That's
Right.
because of non-compliance. So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to retire. They've been eligible to retire.
Yeah.
And so they're saying, screw it, I'm out of here, man.
Yeah.
And so they're going to get out versus rather than get pricked, rather than get jabbed.
Yeah.
And then there's some people that, and then there's federal employees looking into this. In order to not be terminated, fired, but do not yet qualify for retirement, folks, there is a deferred requirement component. Deferred retirement. And so in that case, what that person would do is they would fill out the paperwork for a deferred retirement, and they would opt to not get a FERS payout, to not get a payout. And so that way, at a point in the future here, depending on your minimum retirement age, depending on your years of service,
Right.
You would start getting a pension. So some folks are looking at that as a way to safeguard whatever they have left of their pension.
Yeah.
But the only aspect about it, Manny, and I know about this very personally, it hits right at home, is that instead of retiring, say at age 57, this particular person would have to wait till 60.
Okay.
To start getting the pension.
Wow.
So they would have.
So there's still going to be some hurting.
There's still going to be some hurting because in the meantime they got to find a job,
Right.
To offset the salary if they retire.
So
right now.
all these years of federal service is this. It's amazing to me, man.
Well, and this is this is what has come about just through our research, bro. Because honestly, the human resource departments of these agencies, I'm looking for my other microphone.
It's right.
Oh, it's hanging there.
Yeah.
So the human services departments of various agencies, they're getting minimal information.
Right.
What has come through is that if they don't vaccinate by November 8th, on the 22nd, they'll be out of compliance. So then there'll be a 5-day period to be counseled. They could get up to 14 days on the beach, without pay, without leave.
Right.
14 days. And then they come back at the end of those 14 days. Okay, did you get vaccinated? No. Then there's 5 more days towards termination proceedings. So, and of course, always trust, verify, research.
Right.
But 5 for counseling by a supervisor, 14 days on the beach, and 5 to come back. Did you do it? Did you have a change of heart? Did you get vaxxed? And if not, then they move towards termination, which would be basically 24 days.
And and a lot of people would say, Frank, we've talked about this before. Why not just get the vax and keep your job? But the reality is, it's not about the vax. Every agent that I talked to, every federal employee that I talked to, they said, look, it's not about the vax itself. It's about our freedom. Why are they mandating this? Yeah. It hasn't been completely proven. It hasn't gone all the way. Generally, vaxes take years to get proven,
to go through all the trials and everything.
All the trials and errors and things like that. I'm reading reports that people are having side effects from it. We don't know. There's religious exemptions that aren't even being taken into consideration. When that stuff starts happening, folks, that's about taking away freedom.
There's some information I've got it, man. I don't know if I got it here. Just so much stuff coming out. But Canada, bro, in Canada, there was a study that came out. They're starting to see very significant negative side effects from the vaccine up there, bro. So it was rushed through, and when they talk about having pushed this through and streamlined the process, there's aspects of that process that take years. So they didn't streamline it. They didn't shorten days. They just removed components.
Yeah.
Just total aspects of the process. It's like saying, hey, you're gonna cook hamburger meat? Yeah, sure. Grab a bowl, throw some eggs in there. Throw some flour in there, and you skip over cooking it and just eat it.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you just don't take out a whole step from the process, because it's going to be harmful. It's going to be potentially dangerous.
Right. And we got a comment here, studying that you're right. We don't know the long-term effects, and that's why these things have to be studied. These vaccines have to be studied, for long-term effects. And then there's religious exemptions as well that need to be taken into consideration. I'm not for many vaccines because of the fetal cells that they aborted fetal cells that they have in them. This one's no exception. But it's interesting as well, Frank, is that I've also read in the past and found out that during the Trump administration, Pfizer had lost over $65 billion when President Trump was able to reduce the cost of prescription medications
Yes.
and medications for diabetics and whatnot, and even vaccinations, right? Pfizer lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Biden comes in, basically appoints Pfizer as the holy, grail of vaccinations and whatnot,
Yeah.
and next boom, they're guaranteed money now.
Yeah.
And so putting two and two together, I'm not really, math is not my strong point, but the reality is you look at that is that a coincidence? I don't, to me it doesn't appear to be.
No, it's not, bro. It's about the money. We've been saying just follow the money, follow the money. And I've said it's either ideology ruling this world,
Right.
Which is the prince of the power of the air, the ideology
right.
that controls that, or it's the love of mammon, the love of money,
Right.
And those are the two. And of course there is that aspect of God's sustaining spirit, His light, His
Right.
people,
Right.
His word. So those are the warring factions in our history here. And somebody did say religious exemptions. Yes, they can put in for it, but you have to cross your T's, dot your I's. I was at a conference up in Dallas this Saturday, and I met a lady, a woman who is very involved with the school board mandate issue up there. And so she gave me some information. I'll be posting about it, but if you got a pen and paper right there, Liberty Council, the Liberty Council, they are doing a lot of work. She gave me a list of about 5-10 other firms and other organizations that are involved with this unconstitutional mandate based on a faulty process. And so anyways, Liberty Council and what she is saying for you folks that are listening that have loved ones that are in federal employment, that they are seeing success with religious exemptions when a legal firm's cover letter is on it.
Wow.
When there's a legal firm, you want to get your clergy, your faith-based cover letter on there, but they're seeing success when there is a law firm's cover letter on it.
And if we know one thing about the federal government, bro, they hate going to court.
And so we've been trying to get information because it's not coming out from the agencies. All that the agencies are doing, bro, is gearing up to terminate people. They just want to have their T's crossed, their dots ited, so I's dotted. So when they fire people, everything's all the ducks in a row. They fired them according to procedure, protocol, process.
Yeah.
So they're not even looking at ways. Well, let me qualify that. There may be some efforts, but the information is not getting out there. It's not getting out there as to some potential, routes that these agencies could take to salvage at least the pensions of these employees. Because see, Manny, if an employee doesn't do his research and says, you know what, I don't want to get fired, I don't want to take a risk that I'm not going to get a pension down the road or whatever, and they choose to resign. If they get the payout, they've lost it. If they get a payout on your way out, that's it. You took your payout.
Right.
You don't have a
The
right
key
to
is to keep your pension.
Yeah, the key is to keep your pension at least. I mean, ideally you keep your job, and let's qualify this. There's a lot of employees in this country, a lot of people in this country that are not federal employees.
Right.
It's a small portion.
There are a lot of contractors as well.
There are a lot of contractors that are being affected about it. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And then the fallout, bro, on the communities. Border patrol up and down down the border.
I was reading that Governor DeSantis. I kind of wish we had him over here.
Yeah.
But
Sign us for president.
Yeah. But he's offering bonuses for law enforcement to move over there.
$5,000 bonus.
$5,000 to move to Florida. But there's some silence going on within the Border Patrol, within OFO, within ICE, within all these law enforcement agencies that shouldn't be happening. I was talking to some agents yesterday and asking them, why don't you, have you guys gone through your resources, utilize your resources? And they keep getting told that the Border Patrol is well within their right to impose these policies and things like that. Yeah. So there's a top position that is not saying anything.
Yeah, I did a video, bro. I did a video to the front of the sector headquarters here in Del Rio, and I called out Chief Raul Ortiz. He was actually in town.
Oh, he was?
He was in town. There's a picture where he was at the Amistad parade. He was the grand marshal for that parade. Seen a picture of him and Ralphie, our mayor, who's I heard some talk about him running for Congress. Can you believe that? But anyways, yeah. So anyways, the chief of the Border Patrol, Raul Ortiz, hey chief, your men and women need you to stand up. All this, talk that the chiefs talk about. We are the family. We're the green family. Well, we're a family freaking dysfunctional. It's a dysfunctional family. Yeah. And I'll say it, bro, because if you want to consider the agency a family, then you talk about roles and responsibilities without a family. Don't just throw it around as some word to evoke some feelings. Oh, hey, we're with you. No, if you're gonna throw out the word family, then you take on the role and responsibility of a family, and so the father protects the family at all costs.
Right.
The father freaking lays his life on the line at all costs for the family, bro. I've said it. My sons need my kidneys. I'll give them both. They need my heart. They freaking have it, man.
Right.
You put your life on the line. And so stop using "we are the green family" when you're screwing your fellow agents over. You're bending them over. You're not putting up even a feeble fight to even say anything. It's like, and see, bro, we don't need drones in the federal government. We don't need freaking mindless zombies in the federal government. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to weed out the patriots. And that's not, let me not make a blanket statement here. There are people that took the vax. I get it. There's people that got jabbed because why? They got, 2 years to go to retirement, man. They're making that calculated, freaking horrible, gut-wrenching decision to do this. Why? Because they still have children they got to feed. They still have bills to pay. They're and not even 2 years, bro. There's people that are within a month to 2 months of retirement, but they're not eligible to retire till December 1,
right?
Or whenever, and they need to get the jab.
Yeah.
And so there's like, man, I got to get it, man. So anyways, but to just go and regurgitate and just freaking spew the freaking Kool-Aid dribble that's coming from Biden, bro, it's terrible. It's terrible. The way that, there is a lack of moral leadership. Just reach down, grab them, and just make a stand for truth. Make a stand for your troops. Make a stand for the men and women that look up to you to be their leader.
Right. We're hoping here pretty soon to have former Border Patrol Chief Roddy Scott on our program. We're trying to set that up, here within the next month or two. And so I really appreciated him because people had asked me, well, Manny, that the position of Border Patrol Chief is a very difficult position. I get it, but the reality too is that there comes a point in time when you have to look at what is right. Yeah. And people have asked me, well, if you were Border Patrol Chief for a day, what would you do? I said, well, this is my opinion and my opinion only. Whether you agree with it or not, the way I understand those positions is like they get 100% of their retirement,
under the senior executive,
so they're SESs. But with that aside, I look at what the example that Chief Scott had given us, and he stood up for the agency, stood up against the Biden administration, and he got moved out. You got to be prepared for those things to happen. When you get into that type of position, there are some things that you have to stand up for. Yeah. We took an oath. Yeah. If I see, even if the President of the United States is coming against the Constitution, against our constitutional rights, I swore an oath to defend that.
Yeah. So let me say this, bro. There's people that are fixing to step out. They'll be.
You turn your hat to the back there.
It's a fight. I'm gonna get in the fight. Anyways, bro. So there's people that are fixing to get out. They're hoping to get $30,000 a year in pension, bro.
Yeah.
They're just hoping to get $30K.
Yeah.
How much do these upper management folks need? Man, is $100K not enough for you, man? Is $150 not enough for you? I mean, what do you want? What do you need? Right. Is it just the prestige? Hey, I got the stars or whatever. Come on, man. There's people that are fixing to throw entire careers out the window. Why? Because they're standing on principle.
Yeah, that are willing to give even their retirement if it comes down to that.
On principle alone. And that's extraordinary moral courage, and that's what's hurting America, man. It's just a total sellout on both sides of the aisle by people that I'm not even going to talk about the ideology aspect of it because that controls people's hearts and minds, bro.
Yeah. But
just the selling out for money. It's despicable.
And so we're looking at possibly in the Border Patrol alone losing over 5,000 Border Patrol agents when we don't even have the manpower to do what we're doing now for the Border Patrol to be doing what they're able to do now. Yeah. And then because people have asked me, well, I see all these National Guard people coming down. What's exactly their mission? And we've talked to some National Guard, guys that are down here. God bless you all. I love our military. I love our servicemen and women. But the mission I think down here is basically just to observe and report and basically open gates.
Yeah.
I think this past the last 18 days, from what I read, they caught over 90,000 illegal aliens on the southwest border alone.
Yeah.
Over 192,000 in September.
And even with the National Guard here, there's people throwing out, hey, look, Abbott saying National Guard's going to arrest people. Look, okay, just follow me through on this, man, because you're going to say, man, Frank, nothing satisfies you. Look, just look at the picture, folks. You arrest them. Hey, Abbott, you going to deport them? That's the question.
Yeah.
You're gonna send all these troops down here to catch people, and they're making a big to do about, we're not gonna turn them over to the feds. We're not gonna turn them over to the feds. Yeah, so that means if you're not gonna turn them over to the feds for processing, you're not gonna turn them over to the feds for deportation. So what are you gonna do after they serve X amount of time in jail, Governor Abbott? What are you gonna do after we fed them, we clothed them, we freaking had them housed in a detention facility? What are you gonna do when their sentence is over, Governor? Well, are you going to deport them? Are you going to put them on a plane and send them back out of the United States, Governor? When the answer is simple. Get Mexico freaking, put them on the chopping block,
Yeah.
twist their arm behind their head, freaking shove their head down and say, look, this is the economic guillotine. Either you freaking step up and stop this south of the border. And it's like, well, what do you want us to do? Come on, man.
We've talked to basically.
Come on, man.
We
Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah. Well. So, but I almost forgot what I was going to say now. But
Sorry,
no, that's all right. But we've talked to basically the three gubernatorial candidates for the state of Texas that are willing to do exactly what we've talked about.
Yeah.
Right. To put a stranglehold on Mexico's economic system, because once that happens, they start enforcing the laws. We've seen it happen. We've talked about it since I think day one of our program, that when Trump came into office, that's the first thing he started targeting was Mexico's economic system, and that controlled illegal immigration.
Yeah. Oh, it was a huge effect, and even that freaking, two-bit community organizer down there right now even said it. At least with Trump, we knew what we're getting. At least with Trump.
Yeah.
And so what I was gonna say earlier, bro, is Mexico, you can't turn around and say, well, what do you want us to do? Come on. This is Mexico, bro. We know about the heavy-handedness of Mexican government.
Yeah.
We know about some of the measures that Mexico can put into place. They've done it on their people.
Oh, yeah.
They've done it on their people. So
yeah. And the reality is, if people who don't realize that well, there's a comment here that National Guard can now arrest. They will now have a record. The reality is that they may be able to arrest, but they can't arrest for illegal immigration.
No, it's going to be trespass.
Yeah, it's going to be trespassing, and they're really not going to have a record because trespassing is a misdemeanor, a misdemeanor charge. So I appreciate the point, but the reality is there's not this. National Guard needs a delegated authority. In order to determine alienage, and that's not what they're going to be able to do, or it has been given down to them. And I think there's going to be, if Governor Abbott requests that, it's not going to be granted because the Biden administration doesn't see this as a crisis.
Yeah, and somebody just said, Governor Abbott has been fighting Biden every step of the way. That's what that's what rhinos do. Whenever you got a totalitarian regime like the Biden administration is, it's very easy for rhinos to stand up and get the biggest soapbox they can get and talk. That's easy to do. But as far as his efforts now on the border, it might as well be what the Mexicans did down there and just get pushed aside. We saw all the DPS, we saw all the National Guard down here, and all they were doing was turning over to Border Patrol. Right. ICE was not going to house them, so they were having to be released and flown into the heartland of America.
And then you should, government has every right and ability to go with what works. Yeah. And we saw what worked with President Trump.
Yep.
With President Trump, the crossings were down more than 80%. Illegal immigration was down even higher than that. And that's because he went after Mexico's economic system. Frank and I have been saying since day one that all these troopers that Governor Abbott has down here, line them up on the highways right outside the POE. Every truck that comes out there gets inspected.
If they
fail, they get turned back.
Or just sidelined. Hey, send another truck to come and get the cargo over here. Oh, hey, your second truck's didn't pass. Your third truck didn't neither.
Right.
Look, we just need to move beyond the personality and the likes. I like this guy. I like that guy. Look, we are in existential times. Our existence is at stake here. Our existence is at stake. And when you are fighting for your life, you gouge, you scratch, you bite, you do what you have to do to survive. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. And so, hey, come on, Frank, you're being overly dramatic. 1.7 million more on the ways, bioweaponized invaders coming across, the draconian mandates being imposed on our nation, moving towards totalitarianism. Look at what's happening in Australia. If that doesn't scare the heck out of you, I guess the box, the sandbox is pretty deep, and you're it's not just your head, you're just freaking drowning.
But the reality too is folks, is that we don't know who's in that group. A lot of people here on the border, and I get it and I understand it. When I was working with the Border Patrol, we used to call it like the farmers day, basically Guanajuato Joes, but we used to call the farmer that would come across that was looking for a better way to support his family. I get it. I empathize. But the reality, too, is that we're getting a lot of criminal aliens that are coming out. The last report that I got just the other day was that they've arrested criminal aliens from more than 88 different gangs, Frank, that have come across the border. We know for years, Chief Rodney Scott has said this as well, that we have known for years that Islamic organizations have been using, the cartels or working with the cartels to get them across the border, to establish terrorist cells. We know that the great majority of these illegal aliens that have been coming through here, over 70 to 75% of them are COVID positive with AIDS, with tuberculosis, with other things that are going on. We have sex offenders that have been coming across. The sex offender apprehension rate has gone up over 2,000%. And Frank, these are from the numbers. These are numbers from people that Border Patrol has apprehended. So when we think of the people that have gotten away, which is basically 5 times more than that, who are in those groups? Yeah. And because Border Patrol is unable to go out there and apprehend those who are skirting around them, who are getting away, all the gotaways, folks, this is an outright invasion. We do not know who is coming across. Yeah. We don't know what is being established. We don't, the communities that they're infiltrating, and we just don't know. Yeah. And if you're comfortable with that, I don't, then something's wrong. Because we can't be comfortable with that.
No, bro, it's pretty bad. Real quick, I just wanted to. Somebody asked about the unions here. The NTEU, National Treasury Employees Union, which is the union for Office of Field Operations, the people in blue at the ports, airports, land ports, seaports. Anyways, they're sitting here talking about a Senate Appropriations Committee released the funding, bro, for DHS. They're going to keep the money there for current staffing levels, so they're fixing to lose a lot of people as well. Although NTU will keep pushing for an overall budget increase, this legislation would prevent further furloughs because of the shortfalls in user fee revenue. So somebody asked, well, what about the unions? The unions are playing games as well. The unions are in on it, at least the upper management. Right. Bro. The Border Patrol Union endorsed Tony Gonzalez, the upper management did. And we know Congressman Gonzalez.
Don't get me started on him. Yeah. I saw this. He's been going on the news, touting this pathetic stories and about how these people are suffering and coming across and what he's seen and this and that. Folks, he's part of the problem. Yeah. He's partly to blame for it. Encourage this illegal immigration by petitioning the Biden administration to use Laughlin to fly people out of here. That's why Del Rio was flooded, with illegal aliens, and then to build more processing centers. And then don't forget, folks, he voted for the January 6th commission, right? And so don't put that out of your head, but I don't know, man.
Yeah. And here in Del Rio, bro, I mean, we're seeing the fallout from that encouragement that's going on. I mean, there's word now that the Archdiocese of San Antonio is looking to purchase land. They were finalizing a land deal here in San Antonio.
Yeah, I read about that.
To build a migrant center, so they, you're gonna see people just look at Catholic Charities down in the Rio Grande Valley, bro. Yeah. And in El Paso, they've been very active over there, and what it is they're doing, and how you just have throngs of people just hanging around there as they're waiting to get aided and pushed further into the interior of the United States. It's a full-scale invasion, different components. It's clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah, don't forget about the NGOs as well, folks. I
Yeah.
mean, we got this, we haven't mentioned in a couple of shows, but the Valverde Humanitarian Border Coalition.
It's still out there.
They're still out there. This morning on my way, all I saw was buses coming from that area.
Yep.
So, but they're facilitating illegal immigration, folks, and human trafficking and sex trafficking. In my opinion,
bro, it's bad, and it is, you kind of it's boiling down to true patriots. And what does that mean? I imagine there are similar situations, similar conversations that took place early on in the creation of our nation, as the founding fathers saw what was happening in their country, and they knew that they had been given freedom and given life by God the Creator, bro.
Yeah.
So they sat around and had these discussions, and we're having a discussion with you all. Think about these matters. Think about the deeper issues. Think beyond, the comforts of life right now, because it's all a moot point if we have no nation, and if our sovereignty and our Constitution had just been destroyed, totally, made
Right.
irrelevant. We could always say, look, hey, you see the Constitution? It's in the National Archives. Look at how pretty it looks.
Yeah.
But if it has no relevance, if it has no power, no applicability to life in America, bro, we're doomed. We're done.
We are, and so and praise the Lord that there's more people out there that are willing, to raise their voice. Like, I just got the pop up here. Good morning to HTX Renegade Radio. Hey, good morning to you. That's one of the radio programs that is out there. Trying to raise awareness in regards to our freedoms and our constitutional rights. We have Anthony Agüero. We have
Oscar Blue.
Oscar Blue. He's been following the caravan. Oscar Blue. So
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. He's over there on the other side. We there's quite a few people out there, folks, but it's important to get out there and raise your voice, if it's with a podcast or which is citizen journalism, writing your local media, whatever, creating an awareness. We're just two guys that are tired of seeing our freedoms being they're trying to take away our freedoms. I'm just fed up with it.
And so people would say, well, two guys, what are you all going to do besides talk about it? Well, look, personally, you prepare. You get prayed up. You get armored up in the Spirit of God. You put on that armor of light, and you prepare. What does that mean? You make sure you got the medicines you need. You make sure you got food. I mean, this is just basic stuff. You should be prepared for several weeks, a couple months, several months of being able to sustain your family, plenty of water, etc., etc., etc. But the other thing is also to encourage and create awareness, to spread the information out. Like, for instance, yesterday, man, I was out with my wife. We were driving into town. There's a young man by himself standing up there with a sign that said, he's against the mandatory vaccination.
Wow, just one guy.
There's one kid, man.
Wow.
He's probably about 19 years old, 20 years old, maybe, young man.
Wow.
And he's just out there by himself, but he's giving, he's working out his passion. He's working out his thoughts. He's working out what he's going through right now, and he's exercising his First Amendment rights. Shout out to Ruben. I didn't get a last name. I didn't want to ask him for a last name.
Yeah.
But shout out to Ruben, for being that one man out there with your sign. That is effective. People see that.
Yeah.
It's not a waste of time. People see that, and it should be, honestly, encouragement for others. Look at the huge rallies that are taking place up north and in other cities and other states. And so I just kind of wonder, where are they at here in Texas, man?
Yeah, I wonder too. I wonder where our statesmen are at. When I read the scriptures, Frank, when you're talking about that young man out there, I was just being reminded of when I read the scriptures and how the disciples of Messiah were identified. I remember when they were in Israel and went to Jerusalem, and they were identified to the governor. These are the men who have turned the world upside down.
Yeah.
And to be identified as such.
They got thrown in jail.
And they got thrown in jail for it, right? But they turned the whole world upside down. And folks, we're not going. I'm not asking that you take up arms, as of yet, anyway.
No.
But or resort to violence or anything like that. But we have voices. Many people have abilities, in media and to write and things like that. And so, folks, but it's important that we get the word out and encourage other people, because right now, it's basically out of sight, out of mind. The more the Democrats keep ignoring it, that there's a problem, other people are going to ignore it as well and believe that there isn't a problem.
Well, and so that leads perfect segue into something, folks here. How about them Democrats? You guys happy? You guys happy with what's going on in our country? Maximum freaking gas prices coming here soon. I don't know if they can actually maximize gas prices. They just seem to keep going up. Inflation's terrible. Go to the grocery store, man, and come back with probably a third of what I used to be able to buy.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's incredible what these 10 months have done to our nation.
And people say, well, God willing, we'll have a new president in 4 years. I don't know if we could sustain. We haven't even. This hasn't even been a year. This is the worst. And we can't forget about Afghanistan, right?
Yeah,
There's still Afghanistan going on, folks. That this president lost a whole country and basically set up the largest haven, for terrorism in the world.
And they got our gear, our equipment, which has been sold out to China, Russia, India, Pakistan, now Iran. They've got our science, our technology, our advanced weapon systems in their hands. As much as the Biden administration denies it and shows you, pictures of disassembled aircraft, etc., they got their hands on stuff. And so that's why I bounce it back, to folks that are still out there considering themselves, Democrats. Really, I mean, what's your thoughts on this? Where's your voice justifying the actions, justifying the outcomes, the consequences of Biden's policies? Are you proud of that? Are you proud of what's happening to our nation? And they used to talk about Trump divides us. Well, look, Biden divides us as well. But the thing about the Biden versus Trump, bro, is that they weren't trying to kill you off.
Did you hear? I don't know if you heard his quote the other day. He actually said this, and I couldn't believe he said it. I thought it was a joke, but he said, "My divisive mandates are causing division." and I looked at my computer screen. Like, did he just really say that? So I did hit the little rewind there. And yeah, my divisive mandates are causing division. Of course they're causing division, man. And because they're divisive. And, it's amazing the stuff that spews out of this guy's mouth.
Yeah, bro.
And Democrats still make excuses for him.
And I'm not particularly hating on him, but I'm just saying, really, I mean, can you justify this? Can you make a rational defense of what is happening to our nation? It's gonna affect everyone's pocketbooks, but more importantly, it's gonna affect our children, your children's future. It really is. It's gonna be very difficult if to reverse this, if we can even reverse this. It's gonna be very difficult.
Very difficult.
Especially given, and here's the equal bashing time, especially when we got establishment rhinos, bro. That sell out their souls, sell out for the pocketbook. They bend over and they take it. And they sell out the rest of us, man. So and it has to start at the grassroots level. So this is what I wanted to lead into. We're having a meeting. The Republican Party is meeting November 9th, Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. at Rudy's. If you're concerned, if you're angered, if you're worried about what is happening to our nation, you have to get involved. There are 13 positions open up for election at the county level. 13, from the county judge, the county clerk, commissioners on down. There are 13 positions up for re-election, folks. 13, man, just
Wow.
at the county. And then there's positions at the school board, at the city council, and at the hospital district.
And we can't forget how important the school board is. We see that this it's trying to make its way into the Texas public schools, folks. The critical race theory, which we can spend some more time on another show. But folks, the school board has a lot of influence on what happens in our public schools and how it influences our children. Frank, just real quick, on the average, parents spend about, I think, 18 to 20 minutes per day with their children, right? And so that doesn't even average out. That basically averages out to a little over an hour per week, right? Talking and trying to influence our children. Maybe if they go to services or anything like that, congregational services, maybe a little bit more time if they do stuff on the weekend. But on average, it's only about 15 to 18 minutes per day, and the rest of the time they're spent at school, right? Yeah. Spent at school, and whatever happens when that classroom door closes, right? We're seeing how kids are being influenced here today. Statistics tell us that kids who grow up in a faithful home, a religious home, over 90% of them, their first year away from home in college, they'll deny their faith. They'll leave their faith. So folks, how important is it that what goes into our children's mind to you? We homeschooled our kids because we realize what the public schools are doing. But I'm not trying to bash any public school teachers or anything like that. But the reality is, folks, our children are being influenced wrongly. They're not being taught reading and arithmetic anymore. The values that are being taught in the public schools are anti-American.
Yes.
And anti-constitutional. We see what's being accepted. We see what's being poured into their minds. We see this and the reason I say we see this because we see what's happening to our children. We see what they're spewing out. They're starting to embrace socialism. Oh shoot, we're starting to embrace socialism.
Yeah.
They're starting to embrace socialism and communism, and so I don't, and that's happening in our schools.
Yeah, and so we just need to. Somebody said we need to band together. Yeah, you know what? We need to prepare. There's a lot of us out there, and we're being silent. I was wondering about that, Manny. Why is it that we've seen such extraordinary restraint? Our homes being invaded, man. Our way of life in America is being changed. We're drifting dangerously to the left, to that totalitarian where one group of people controls every aspect of life of a citizenry, bro. That's where
Right.
we're drifting towards. So why are we so remarkably restrained at this point? And I honestly think that we're kind of there's still this aspect of hey, we live in a republic, constitutional rule of law, so we're waiting for the components to kick in to do what they're supposed to, but so there's got to be that connect. They're not.
Right.
They're not, and I've said it. Biden has betrayed us. There is no expectation. There can be no expectation that he will do what is right for our country.
Right.
And so it falls on the state level. And I know people don't like me saying this, but Abbott is failing miserably. He continues to throw a bone out. He continues to put up a good show and take pretty pictures. But when it's nut cutting time, he's not doing it, bro.
Right.
He's not exercising the full scope and power of the authority, the constitutional authority that it's been given to him. And so the last, when that fails, then it's at the county level.
Right.
And we saw aspects of that next door, the county next door, where they were, trying to do some stuff. That's in a red Republican county. Imagine a lot of these border counties that are controlled by Democrat, commissioners' courts.
And and that's been my criticism, not just to Abbott, but to a lot of Republicans, that when it comes time to really fight, they back off for some reason.
Yeah,
and I don't get it. Of course I understand. That many of them are rhinos.
Yeah.
And I'm not. And in my opinion, the way I see Abbott working right now, he's falling into that category with me rather quickly. But I think he keeps expecting too that the other side of the aisle is going to work with him, and that's not going to happen. It's amazing. I read another article just the other day that I guess they were wanting to vote. Pass a vote. I don't know I can't remember if it was a state or the federal level about all these aliens coming in to be vaccinated. Not one Democrat voted for these illegal aliens to be vaccinated.
Yeah. Well, and then we had that bill that was just shot down, bro. It was gonna be a stop on mandatory vaccinations here.
Right. Here in Texas. Right?
Here in Texas, and our Senate instead, they let it die. They instead spoke about leashing your dogs, about leashing your pets, bro.
Yeah.
And so,
which is a top level priority, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, as the house is burning down around us here.
Yeah.
And so, what I just wanted to say was, you need to get involved locally. You need to get involved the time for ranting and raging at your screen, at your computer screen, at your TV is over. You need to get involved. You might not know the first thing about being in an elected office, but we need rational patriots, rational, biblically centered people in office. You got to get outside your comfort zone. You've got to get involved and take back our nation. One county, one city, one district at a time. It's just got to be done that way. Right. And it's going to be long and dreary and weary, but grow not weary in doing good. Grow not tired in doing good. Tap into the power that comes from God. Tap into that Holy Spirit power. Spend your time, seeking God's face in your prayer closet, and get armored up with prayer, and set aside the sin that so easily encumbers us and slows us down.
Right.
And set our mind and our hearts, our faith on the things above.
Right.
That's what the Word of God exhorts us to do, bro.
Right. And I agree, with Teresa Chapoy, she's saying they will come for all Democrats eventually as well. And they will.
Yes.
They will. And HJS Radio, Renegade Radio, thank you so much. She has time to get uncomfortable and quit being content. True, a lot of people are living a life that's convenient for them. They're used to this convenience. They think it's not going to reach them. Folks, it's going to reach every American. Those who are at the top level do not care about America. They don't care about American citizens. You have to open up your eyes. And if you voted for this administration, I'm not trying to put any blame on you, but the reality is we need to hold your feet to the fire as well, because the idea that they're not going to come for you either, you're wrong. You're wrong. Well, folks, we're running out of time here, but I just want to remind you that we do have a website again. I'm going to put up on the screen, tacoboutalive.com. You can go to our website there. Email us, leave any comments. We're always looking for new equipment as well. And so, to go out and do live broadcasts. So we do have a donate button if you want to help us out, but you can email us with your questions, with your concerns, and things like that. So we encourage you to visit us. God willing, we'll see you here next Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, Talk About It Live with Frank and Manny. And also keep a watch out on Facebook and YouTube also, and Rumble. We're on Rumble. You'll find us on Podbean as well as Spotify, Amazon Music, but also keep an eye out for Frank, U.S. Border Patriot, your page on YouTube as well. Frank is always out there stirring up news stories and things like that. So we appreciate that, Frank, that you're out there.
Yeah, thanks, Manny. So, hey, everybody, just thanks for tuning in this morning. This is just food for thought, stuff for you to chew on, discuss it with your loved ones. And as always, we just want to, encourage you. In the end, we know God wins.
Yes, we do know God wins.
We know God wins.
Yeah, praise the Lord.
In the meantime, we got to do what we can here.
Yeah.
And just think of Nehemiah. They built a wall, but they were prepared.
Yes.
They were vigilant. They assessed what was going on around them. They were ready for attacks. They were ready for the works of the enemy. And so we got to be the same way. We got to be prepared. Physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, we got to be prepared.
Yep. All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Appreciate the words, Frank. And may the Lord God bless you. God bless America, and God bless Texas.
Now you know where there's no path, man.